This is CTV. Don't blink.
In the headlines tonight,
no credible evidence was presented.
William Ruto presidency upheld by Supreme Court of Kenya to be sworn in on 13th. Police foil protests against mistreatment of Ugandans in South Arabia.
We don't want to lose the majority of parents.
School owners speak out on increasing prices of commodities and high costs of running schools. And in sports, draws held ahead of games, Makerere and UCU to open with Nkumba University. A very good evening to you. I trust you had a well-rested weekend. This is CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on sign language. In our top story tonight, a sad day for Team Azimio as Kenya's Supreme Court has upheld the victory of former Deputy President of Kenya, William Ruto, in the August presidential election after ruling on a number of petitions brought by his closest challenger, Raila Odinga. The unanimous verdict was delivered on Monday by Martha Koome, the chair of the 7-member court. The details.
Kenya's Supreme Court unanimously validated the presidential election results of the vote held last August that saw Vice President William Ruto declared winner with 50.5% of votes. Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, delivered the verdict Monday afternoon by dismissing many of the petitions that alleged fraud in the technology used in the electoral process, while recognizing what is called a serious malaise in governance of the Electoral Commission. However, the judge said the court concluded that the last-minute electoral rupture is insufficient to invalidate or annul the vote. Judges also found no credible evidence that there was any tampering with the uploading of Forms 34A to the public portal and no evidence of unexplained discrepancies between votes cast in various elective positions across the country and those cast in favor of the Vice President William Ruto.
No credible evidence was presented to prove that anyone accessed the RTS to intercept, detain, or store Forms 34A temporarily before they were uploaded to the public portal. The allegation that 11,000 Forms 34A were affected by staging was similarly not proved.
The lawsuit had sought to overturn the results of the presidential election and has left the East African nation in political limbo. Opposition leader Raila Odinga, who failed to secure the presidency on his 5th attempt, along with 6 other parties, petitioned the court to nullify Vice President William Ruto's win. They allege massive irregularities that compromised the fairness of the August 9 vote. The official results showed Ruto secured 50.5% support and the veteran opposition figure Raila Odinga 48.8%.
The 6th petition are used to compute the percentages garnered by each candidate as follows. William Ruto, according to him, garnered 49.9%, Raila Odinga 48.3%, Wahiga 0.22%, and Wanjakoya 0.3%. It is on this basis that the 6th petitioner grounded the claim that none of the candidates met the constitutional threshold as set out in Article 138(4)(a). IEBC and its chairperson disputed the sixth petitioner's claim. They submitted that the declaration of results is based on the number of people identified as having voted on the KIMS kit and not the total persons on the voters register as arranged.
While Wafula Chebukati, the chairman of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, defended the integrity of the election, 4 of the body's other 6 members distanced themselves from pronouncement, citing a lack of transparency over the count. This Justin Martha Kome described as a last-minute rupture, particularly since all members of the Electoral Commission had actively fully participated in the process until the point of disagreement. A group of 5,000 local observers said the results were in line with its own parallel tallies. During the last presidential election in 2017, the Supreme Court overturned the election and ordered a new vote, a first in Africa. Elections in Kenya have repeatedly been sources of violence. The deadliest in 2007 left more than 1,100 people dead in politically motivated clashes and displaced hundreds of thousands. Although the current electoral process has been largely peaceful, fears remain for any potential unrest.
You know very well that the presidential candidates don't run through parliament. They run outside parliament. We have fought a war. We have fought a war the Supreme Court has decided. And what we would like to do is we should live in harmony. We should be patient. Kenya is not running away from us. And I've come out as a Kenyan to live in the opposition, if that's what people wanted. I'm not going to be running around waiting to be called on the table, just like what other people are doing. We also have to thank Honorable Ruto for having fought a war that we have seen. We shall give him the courage we have to, but whenever he goes wrong, we shall tell him.
I want to say without a fear of contradiction that we do not agree with the decision of the Supreme Court. Like Al Gore, I will say we accept the decision, but we do not agree with it. We wanted a comprehensive audit of not only the technology that was applied by the Electoral Commission, but we wanted a proper audit, although time was of the essence, but I think we had sufficient time to carry out a proper audit, including looking at the issue of the foreign intruders, the Venezuelans.
Still in Kenya, President-elect William Ruto has vowed to work with his boss and outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta on the transition to a new administration. Ruto, who made these remarks after court upheld his win, revealed that he will also accord the expected honor to his predecessor, plus his long-standing opponent, Raila Odinga, even in retirement. Take a look.
Following the Supreme Court of Kenya's decision to uphold the victory of William Ruto, many supporters of the recently elected president took to the streets to celebrate his win. In his address this afternoon at Karen, President-elect William Ruto thanked the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, Wafula Chebukati, and the Kenya's judicial system.
Of the election is one, Wafula Chebukati, and the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. And the hero of our democracy and the rule of law and constitutionalism is our judiciary.
Ruto today also revealed that he is now ready to work with the outgoing President Uhuru Kenyatta and vowed to look for his former ally, although he did not support him.
I haven't talked to him in months. But shortly I will bring a call to him so that we can have a conversation on the process of transition.
President-elect Ruto revealed that he will also show his opponent respect despite the bitter rivalry.
I know he worked hard in his own way, but the people of Kenya have made a decision. and we have absolutely no issue with the democratic choices of any Kenyan.
He also thanked his legal team for the work they have done.
For good record, that these great men and women, our legal team, volunteered their services for free. It is amazing.
President-elect William Ruto will be sworn in officially on 13th of September.
Several members of parliament have today reacted to the Supreme Court of Kenya, in which it confirmed William Ruto as the president of Kenya. Legislators in Uganda shared mixed reactions on the ruling made by the Chief Justice of Kenya, Martha Koome, in a petition that was filed by the presidential candidate, Raila Odinga.
Now that the court has decided, we who are neighbors of Kenya, and especially me who represents the border constituency, I want to say it is time for us to resume our normal day-to-day businesses, for my people to cross to Kenya, for the Kenyans to come, and businesses to start. So I want to applaud the Kenyan people, especially the judiciary, for the decision they have taken. And I want to also believe that this decision is in the interest of democracy thriving not only in Kenya, but at the region at large.
Unless when we start following the Constitution at its entirety, and we follow it with the strictness it deserves, nothing we have learned from Kenya, only we have just seen.
You have taught us lessons as Ugandans, as East Africans, as Africans, that we are maturing. We are on the maturity lane in our Western democracy.
Congratulations to His Excellency, President-elect, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. We will work with you as Uganda, and especially me, who comes from a border constituency. You know, I am always a visitor in your country, Kenya. We will continue to work and relate like it has happened before.
I believe the judgment itself in its in totality. Much as Ruto has won, but there is a lot that is going to streamline. So there is a lot of experience, and we really congratulate the people of Kenya that they have reached that level of maturity.
Until we have those institutions that are independent, we shall not be in position to deliver leadership, legitimate leadership for the country. Voters will not have an ultimate say on who leads the country.
First and foremost, we want to definitely appreciate and acknowledge the fact that Kenya has demonstrated a great milestone in its democracy. It is confirming and affirming what the forefathers of the nation laid. And we as Uganda, I'm confident we are picking a leaf from the same.
Switching to matters security, police have arrested a group of youths who were protesting outside the premises of Parliament today. The group, under their umbrella body, Torture Survivors Movement Uganda, claimed that they were taking a petition to the Speaker of Parliament protesting against the continued torture of Ugandan immigrants in Saudi Arabia. The details.
Youth activists under the umbrella stormed the main gate of Parliament. The activists, who are holding a bigger banner and placards with written message protesting against the mistreatment of Ugandan migrants living and working in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The angry youths, who made loud chants, want government to address the issue of torture and mistreatment of Ugandans working in the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia. The police at Parliament studied the situation before rushing to arrest the protesters. After the arrest, the suspects were rushed to Kampala Central Police Station. Deputy spokesperson for Kampala Metropolitan Luke yesterday confirmed the arrest, revealing that the activists will be charged with inciting violence.
Arrested 4. That is Sebuganda Richard, Serunkuma John Bosco, Semanda Brian, and Serunga Moses. These have been arrested on allegations of inciting violence.
The arrest also caught attention of the State Minister of Labour, Charles Okello Engola, who revealed that the government of Uganda is in talks with the Saudi Arabian government to ensure that the minor cases of mistreatment are dealt with accordingly.
Yeah, the death, we have to do investigations, we have to find out, we have to sensitize the people who are going out. Any person who is going out should go officially. And we're working out a system which should handle monitoring anybody who is in countries which are abroad, so that those kind of things quiet off.
This is the second time this group of activists has taken to the streets to protest against the mistreatment of Ugandan migrants overseas. A few days ago, the same group dropped a coffin at the Saudi Arabian embassy over the same issue. Safi Mokele Baloko and Chris Samale Musemakula for CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Safi, for that report. Schools have officially reopened and school owners are complaining. We bring you this story and more after the break. From parents, teachers, and owners of the schools who argue that the hiking prices of essential commodities are heavily affecting them. Some of the private school owners have fears that they might lose some students to government schools. Take a look.
A few weeks ago, the State Minister for Higher Education, Dr. Chrysostom Mayengo, issued a warning to all private institutions who plan to hike school fees despite the economic challenges they are facing as a country.
Literary fees increment is unacceptable because it has contributed to many of our children going out of school. If there is a need to raise or to change the fees structure, follow the guidelines given by the Ministry of Education, and that is, call the board meeting, call the parents in a meeting. Once you have agreed over anything, don't implement it until you've got permission from the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Sports.
Today marked the official reopening of the third term across the country at a time when prices of essential items such as food are on the rise. The chairperson of National Private Education Institutions Association Uganda, Hasadu Chirabira, says there are fears that parents might take their children to government schools which are cheaper.
We are skeptical because the situation can warrant any situation to happen. Students can move, learners can move from private to public. But we don't want to lose the novelty of parents thinking of bringing the students within private school. There is a reason why rich and poor parents bring learners in private schools. They are looking for quality, they are looking for excellence, they are looking for standards.
Chirabira says heads of the education institutions have raised school fees because of the current economy.
That's why we are appealing to proprietors of schools. It does not add more value to your school to have learners leaving a private institution going to a public. I think it does not add any value to your school. Therefore, we must work out modalities that enable students to remain in our schools but solve the problems within.
Grace Lumu of Prim Hill Schools wants school owners to negotiate with parents to allow them to pay in installments.
There is no child or there is no parent that has not brought full fees and has been denied access to a school. No. Actually, even right now, the kids are in class, but there is already what we call a pay program.
Lumu says guardians, school owners and the government should sit together to ensure that children remain at schools despite all the challenges.
Any increment is a pinch on the side of the parent. So we initiated a working relationship whereby a parent can always pay or clear the fees in installment.
The opening of the third term comes after 2 years lockdown, which affected the education system. Safi Mokele Balokon Christ, Samale Musimakula for CTV, in addition.
As schools commence for their third academic term in the year 2022, police have urged school owners to do thorough medical checkups on their pupils and students as they report back. According to police, school owners should check for signs of physical torture that might have been experienced during the holidays. The details.
Recently, police arrested a woman who was caught on video brutally beating a 2-year-old toddler, an act that was condemned by many. The woman, who has since been identified as Dorothy Nabulime, raised many eyebrows, drawing attention to acts of torture. Following the incident, police has urged school proprietors to carry out mandatory health checks on children returning back to school, especially those in the boarding section, for signs of any physical torture.
Now, some of the simple safety tips for parents and guardians and school managers is that all children, we recommend that all children are examined upon their return for any signs of child abuse during the holiday.
Police publicist Fred Enanga, who made these remarks while addressing journalists this morning at the weekly security press briefing, requested parents to mind their children's safety as they go back to schools, especially the day scholars.
For those who continue to transport children to school, it is important to work with them to teach them safe habits around the drop zones or in the classrooms.
School owners have also been asked to carry out routine checks for returning students in boarding schools for illegal items.
For boarding schools, we recommend that they should establish contacts to monitor the safe arrival and presence of children at school.
Schools all across the country have today officially commenced for the third academic term, which will also see off candidates that will be sitting for their final papers starting late October as per the Uganda National Examination Board calendar. Kevin Kasoma, CTV PM Edition.
Police have launched a manhunt for city socialite Charles Olim, also known as Sipapa, over alleged involvement in a robbery last month in Bunga, Kampala, where over 1.6 billion shillings was stolen. Here are the details.
Our task team from CID Kampala Metropolitan is actively searching for one of the very popular members of Kampala, that is Sipapa. We are investigating him for an alleged aggravated robbery. So our CID at Kampala Metropolitan is actively investigating a robbery that occurred on a South Sudanese national called Jacob Arok, who is a resident of Kauku zone in Bunga. He was robbed on the 28th, on the night of 28th to 29th of August. And so we instituted inquiries at Kabalagala. Of course, amongst the items which were stolen, that is, we managed to use the signal from an iPhone that led us to the recovery of robbed items from Sipapa's home. The facts gathered indicate that on the night of 28th to 29th August, a group of thugs broke into the home of Jacob Arok after applying suspected chloroform and to the occupants. The thugs ransacked the home and robbed cash, US dollars 429,000, 4 iPhones, 2 Apple laptops, a Dell laptop, gold jewelry for the wife, a 65-inch Samsung TV, among others. Now, during the subsequent investigations, our detectives tracked down an iCloud signal from one of the stolen phones that led them to the location in Chitio Close, Buwate, in Chira Division. When we interviewed the occupants, they told us that the house belonged to Olimo Charles Sipapa.
In the regional news, we bring you the latest on floods in Sudan, where the death toll has gone up to 112, and in Zimbabwe, a measles outbreak kills 700 children.
Flash floods have killed 12 more people in Sudan over the past week, a Sudanese official said on Monday, bringing the death toll since the start of the rainy season in May to 112. Brigadier General Abdul Jalil Abdul Rahim, the spokesperson for Sudanese National Council for Civil Defense, said at least 115 people have been injured. The downpours, which began earlier than normal this year, also added around 85,000 houses, hospitals, schools, and other government facilities across the country, he said. The spokesperson said the deaths include 74 people who drowned, 32 died when their houses collapsed, and 6 died of electrocution. Sudan's rainy season usually starts in June and lasts until the end of September, with floods peaking in August and September. The United Nations last week said at least 258,000 people have been affected by floods in 15 of Sudan's 18 provinces. And in Zimbabwe, close to 700 children have lost their lives to a measles outbreak in Zimbabwe since April this year, the Southern African country's health ministry announced over the weekend. The ministry said 37 of the deaths occurred on September 1st, subsequently 291 cases were recorded on September 4th. The latest figures are more than 4 times the number of deaths announced about 2 weeks ago, when the ministry said 157 children, most of whom were unvaccinated due to their families' religious beliefs, had succumbed to the disease. Dr. Jonanes Marisa, the president for the Medical and Dental Private Practitioners of Zimbabwe Association, told the Associated Press on Monday that the government should escalate on ongoing mass vaccination campaign and embark on awareness programs targeted especially at anti-vaccine religious groups. UNICEF on Monday said it is deeply concerned with the number of cases and deaths among children due to measles. The agency said it is assisting the government to combat the outbreak through immunization programs.
On the international scene, Israeli soldiers killed a Palestinian who belonged to the Islamic Jihad militant group on Monday during clashes in the occupied West Bank. The details.
Israel's military said security forces had arrested 5 people suspected of what it called terrorism activity in and around the city of Jenin when a riot erupted. The rioters hurled rocks, explosive devices, and Molotov cocktails at the forces, and shots were heard in the area. The soldiers responded with live fire. Hits were identified, it said. The Palestinian foreign minister condemned the killing, calling it an execution. Islamic Jihad, which fought a brief conflict with the Israel in Gaza last month, called on its members to step up its fight against Israel. Violence has smeared in the West Bank since Israel began a months-long campaign against suspected militias in response to a spate of street attacks carried out by Palestinians and members of Israelis' Arab minority that killed at least 18 people. So far, 97 Palestinians have been killed in the campaign, the health ministry says, including the attackers, civilians, and those shot during those clashes with Israeli forces. Also overnight, 4 Israeli soldiers were wounded when an explosive device was thrown at their posts near the Palestinian town of Nabi Salah, the army said.
PM Edition returns shortly with more news from the world of sports.
Sometimes in life, we spend all the time trying to live other people's life. And along the way, we lose who we are by copying what other people are doing in their relationship.
You see, from the last time I met your sister, I've not spent a day or a minute without thinking about her.
It's a good surprise on a Monday. This is nice.
So you and him are
We're just friends.
Wow.
Come on.
just friends.
You either tell me where you're from or you go back to where you've been. Thinking it would work out for us, but yet to find out that's not who we are after experiencing a great disappointment.
She's in love with some other man, so classy, a gentleman, not poor dogs like you.
These are the mistakes girls do.
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
You are still watching CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on Sign Language. In the world of sports, the Uganda Christian University, UCU, will face off with Mkumba University at the quarterfinals of the University League. The quarterfinals will kick off next week. Here are the details.
Uganda University is one of the 8 teams left in the University League and will have to play Uganda Christian University as per the draws held today. Joseph Mira, the head of sports at Uganda University, says they are ready for the challenge.
We've started vigorously with our training and we are preparing adequately and sufficient enough to play come 14th. We strongly believe this is our time. We've been knocking on the doorway to win this league, but in Cis probably things were not cropping up. But right now, we feel this is our time to win the trophy.
Kampala University, the 2-time champions, will play against St. Lawrence University.
To qualify for the quarterfinals. Nja kusooka njogereko ku group stages zaffe ze twazanye tezabadde nnyangu because we came in as a best loser, number 2. We thought we were off, but good enough, we are excited, we are back, and we are ready to compete.
Other teams that will face off in the quarterfinals include Chambogo University, who will play against MUBS, and Bugema University, who will play against Uganda Matters University. The games will take place on the 14th and 15th of September.
Uganda Matters play Bugema.
We have come to the end of tonight's edition. Thank you for staying tuned in and thank you for keeping it CTV. Catch us here, same time, same place. More interesting programs are lined up for you after this, so remember to keep it C. From the entire team, we wish you a good night and be blessed.